Results in the 901 for Hoops last night. The Tigers lose an overtime heartbreaker to the number 12 team in the country, Vanderbilt, while the Grizz get an unexpected win, very shorthanded, in Minnesota. Of course, they didn't have Ant either. They didn't have Anthony Edwards, but the Grizz were missing a whole lot of people. We will talk about that with our friend, the TV voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, Pete Pranica, in about 7 minutes. As far as the Tigers go, they just don't know how to finish. They have not learned really how to win. Silly fouls did them in the overtime after they clawed back, had a chance to really put the game away. Got to give Vanderbilt a lot of credit. There were several times that Memphis, down the stretch, I think if you take a look at the last 4 or 5 minutes of the regulation and in the overtime, there were a total of 7 turnovers. A lot of that was pressure by Vandy, some of that carelessness. But then there were a couple of gimmies inside that were beautiful blocks by Vanderbilt. They made the big plays down the stretch. That's why they're the 12th team in the country. They're 11-0. And now the Tigers find themselves 4-6. They are in a position where the only way they can get to the NCAA tournament, unfortunately, is by having to win the American Athletic Conference tournament. I guess close is this year's theme. They were close against the number 1 team in the country at that time, Purdue. Didn't make the plays down the stretch, lost their head with a Aaron Bradshaw technical that produced a 13-4 turnaround, and that's why they lost to Purdue. If that goes the other way, if they call Kloof for a flagrant foul for knocking down Bradshaw, maybe Memphis knocks off the number 1 team in the country, but they don't. Close. No cigar. Wake Forest should have won that game. There's no doubt about that one. Mental errors, 3 different ways, cost the Tigers the game against Wake Forest. Close. Against a good team, not a win. And then last night, it was right there for the taking, and they couldn't get it done. You look at some of the things they did, it's impressive. They force Vanderbilt, which averages 9.7 turnovers a game, 20 turnovers in that contest. Here's a team that normally shoots almost 38% from three-point range. They shot 19% for the game. They were 6 of 31. That 6 made is 5 below their average. Memphis's defense was outstanding. Didn't do a great job on rebounding, but it didn't necessarily kill them. Normally, the Tigers are the better offensive rebounding team. Not in this game. They had only 11. Vandy had 15. If you look at the Tigers in the overtime, this is hard to believe. If I said to you, Landon Schmidt, what do you think the Tigers' field goal percentage was? Or what were the attempts in the overtime? What would you tell me?
Specifically in the overtime?
Yes. Yeah, overtime.
It had to be better than what was in the first half of play. So
the first half was awful for both teams. I think there were more turnovers in the first half than there were buckets made. Seriously.
No, I 100% agree.
It was ugly. Tom Hart, who's the ESPN play-by-play guy, I didn't get. We're way up high now, so I didn't have a chance to really chat with him. And he said, "Do we get double time for having to watch this?" It was awful. No, in the overtime, the Tigers actually were 4 of 10 from the field. The team that wins, and they win the overtime 15-8. The team that wins the game, Vanderbilt, they only took 3 shots. They were 2 of 3. But you know what they were? 11 of 13.
I was about to say they were on the free throw line all night.
11 of 13, and Memphis was zip for zip. And I'm not blaming that on the refs. I'm blaming that on stupid fouls. The U of M gave that game away with the way that they defended. They, like I said, did so many good things here. So many good things in this ball game. 4 guys in double figures. A double-double for Hassan Abdul Hakim, who, when he gets in shape, is really going to be good. And Hakim actually had 2 assists in the game. He's trying to become more of a team guy. Doug McDaniel's got to do better. He told me that himself on the postgame. 6 turnovers. Your point guard cannot have 6 turnovers. But he had 4 assists and 18 points. And they actually took him off the ball a bunch to free him up because Louisville showed you the way. Just deny him the ball, really double him, and he becomes ineffective. So Penny did have an answer for that a little bit. I felt bad for Zach Davis. He was not himself. He was wearing a mask. He got poked in the eye. Remember, he got smacked in the nose in the Bahamas. He's just been beaten up. He didn't have a good game. Bradshaw was in foul trouble as usual. It was tough. Some good things, but here is the theme of this year. Really close. Just don't know how to finish. Hopefully they figure this out, maybe in Starkville. Then they got Alabama State. Then we start conference play. And we'll see what this team can do. But the only way now, because their record against good teams, I think Q1 and 2 is 1-5. Baylor's the Q2 win that they got, 1-5. You're not getting to that large. You're going to have to win the conference tournament. It's that simple. Now, the good thing is, in talking to both Tariq Ingram, who had not met before, and Doug McDaniel, who have had plenty of conversations with now, this team understands. They know they can get better. And I didn't see any quit there, so we shall see. We'll see in Starkville. That is a 3 o'clock game now down at Mississippi State, and they're having a year that is not as good as they had anticipated. In the meantime, we're about to hook up with the TV voice of the Grizz. They had the opposite thing. All of a sudden, they are winning games on the road without key guys that are. I mean, they have a chance before Christmas to go 500, 15-50. In fact, I think they will. Their schedule now is Washington at OKC. Okay, they're not going to win that game. And then at Utah, which they owe one to. If they win 2 out of those 3, they'll be 15-15 at Christmas, which, considering all that's happened, would be a pretty good thing for sure. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio, and a reminder, yes, the wonderful hot tub and swim spa clearance sale still going on. And in that sale, you can get in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off. If you say, you heard this right here, you get a hot tub for under $2,500, they give you a free gift. And it is, in my opinion, when they say they're going to give you a free gift, they give you a good one. It's valuable. So head on over, tell them we sent you. Go see Billy, go see Lindsay at Family Leisure. This portion of the show also brought to you by ATC Fitness. 18 locations, family business, never a long-term commitment. You want to get in shape for the holidays? This is the place to do it because they're all over the place. They always have the latest equipment, always clean as can be, and open 24 hours a day. My goodness, exercise your right to look good. Head on over and see my guys at ATC Fitness. Always looking good is Pete Pranica. Got to have a smile on his face. Did you think Memphis without Ja would go into Minnesota and win that game? The Triple J would suddenly become the Triple J of the past. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. Yeah, when you looked at the injury report, you were worried about it a little bit. But this is a team that has been very resilient. They have dealt very well with the revolving door of lineups, and Tuomas Isolo has them playing at a very high level right now. So, was I surprised? Yeah, a little bit. I think the Grizzlies, did what they had to do. You look at Jock Landale was spectacular off the bench. Triple J obviously was fantastic. Role players played their roles, and no disrespect anywhere, but I think Minnesota looked at it and going like, yeah, we can rest Anthony Edwards another night. These guys don't even have a point guard on their roster, who's active. So it was a combination of things, but a really, really good road win. Good win, period, really.
And hey, Memphis is hot. They've won 9 of their last 12, 13 and 14. I'll get into that in a second. But I had this observation. Tell me if I'm crazy. But it's beginning to sound a little bit like Tuomas Isolo is Ted Lasso. I swear. Listen, here's 2 quotes from last night. On Cedric Coward having to be the primary ball handler in certain situations because there's no true point guard for the Grizzlies. He's trying to figure it all out. He goes, the deep end is the best teacher. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. I mean, I just think that is terrific, but it sounds like Ted Lasso. Or on Jaren Jackson Jr. finally getting his act together, he goes, quote, Jaren's been in his thoughts for a while now. I love how he gets to it with, it's almost like prose and does not, seriously. I told my wife this, she said I was nuts, but I think it sounds like Ted Lasso.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I certainly wouldn't call you crazy. The thing about Cedric Howard, it's the same thing that Taylor Jenkins would say about Desmond Bain. We want to make him uncomfortable because that's the only way you're going to grow. But Tomas does have a way with words and being direct. And I think what he said about Jaren is absolutely true. You know, Jaren would miss a shot, take a silly foul, then another silly foul. He'd hang his head, and then all of a sudden he's got a 9-point game and he's fouled out. He's just played more aggressively. I think there have been some tactical changes, maybe to get him some more isolation plays, and it's all come together in a really good space. You're seeing an emotion from Jaren, a fire from Jaren in the last couple of games that has been a very, very welcome sight for Grizzlies fans. And Cedric Howard, he's cool with being thrown in the deep end, and he was last night. And he learned a lesson. Don't challenge Rudy Gobert at the rim because that might not end well.
Right.
But I just think the guys are playing hard for Tomas, and they are responding to whatever he is saying, whether or not it's Ted Lasso-like. They're responding.
What do you think it is about Jaren? Seriously, I admire Jaren because he was pressing. I don't think there's any question about that. And he was being asked what the heck is wrong, and he was just going, nothing's really wrong. I'm just missing shots I normally miss. But what do you think has happened in the last two games that has made this guy reminiscent of the one that made the All-Star game a couple of years ago?
It could be as simple as making shots. When you miss shots, he went through a stretch where he was 0 for 11 from 3. In the last two games from 3, he's been really, really good. So, you miss shots, and if things are going well offensively, then your defense is better. And, he would be missing shots, and like I said, he would take Jaren, you don't need to hand check that guy. You don't need to grab that guy around the waist. And he'd just take bad fouls, and then his minutes were shorter, and I think he's just adapted to what Tomas has as a system. And there was one game earlier this year where he said, I feel so much more comfortable because now I know where I'm supposed to be going. And it's been a transition period, but I think we're seeing the fruits of it right now.
Another nice story, particularly last night, was Jock Landale. I mean, you signed Landale because you really had to have a guy. Edey was already out because of the surgery that he had, and this guy delivered. And last night he was delivering from way downtown.
Yeah, he's always been at the NBA level. He's always been a upper 30 to 40% 3-point shooter. So not a surprise there. But it was huge because it pulled Rudy Gobert away from the rim and it opened up some other things. And here's a guy who didn't play for Tomas but played against his teams in Europe. So he knows the system, and I think he has been, as one of only two guys 30 or older on the roster, that has been a veteran leader for this team, and maybe has helped with the buy-in. It's like, this is what Tomas wants to do. I've seen it before in Europe. This is kind of how he wants to run things, and he came up with one of the best games of his life.
He did. That was fun to watch. Oh, I got to mention the return of Brandon Clark. BC came in. I know the stat line didn't wow you, but it was nice to have him back, and he made a comment, and apparently this is coming from staff members, that he's done such a diligent job in rehabbing that he's actually jumping higher now than he did prior to the injury that he sustained, which is pretty amazing because he's always been a pogo anyway. Do you buy that?
Yeah, I do, because you look at the team's performance staff and all that they do, and you look at the improvement Zach Edey has had in terms of foot movement and quickness. Okay, that's the performance staff. They worked with him all summer long how to improve your foot quickness, your maneuverability around the rim, and he looks like a different player in terms of his mobility. So the fact that BC feels like he's jumping higher, I don't think that's I don't think there's any lies detected in that, because we've got a great performance staff. I know that the training staff takes a lot of public criticism. It's not warranted, because these guys and gals work behind the scenes and they really develop players. You know, you have coaches that will develop their on-court skills, but you've got a tremendous performance team that is helping these guys be better physical versions of themselves. And we're seeing that with Brandon Clark and Zach Edey.
I know you're not an orthopedic specialist. You saw that Ja went down. It was, I think, his left ankle. And he was in pain. There's no doubt, and he was very frustrated. You could tell that. Did not play last night. Do you have any kind of gut feel as to when he might be back? Because you got a stretch here where if he played before Christmas, and I'm hoping he does, you guys could end up being 500, 30 games in with 52 to go, and sitting in a position where you're going to get guys back and, you know, maybe make a run to get into the playoffs, not the play-in.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, he was questionable, then doubtful, then out. There hasn't been a diagnosis like it's a grade 1, 2, or 3 sprain or anything like that. So you've got a couple days off here, a couple days to rest and rehab it before you play Saturday against Washington. Then you got a really difficult back-to-back because you play Oklahoma City, and then difficult maybe not in terms of opponent, although the Grizzlies did get beat by Utah, but a difficult flight and a late check-in in Utah before you come home for Christmas. So a couple days of rest. We'll see how he rehabs and see what might be possible on Saturday night against the Wizards.
Well, the Wizards, then at OKC and at Utah, where you owe them one. If you get 2 out of those 3, and that's very plausible. 15-15 with all those injuries at Christmas time, what would you say would be the grade for the Grizzlies?
I would definitely give them a B+, because it's not just, we knew coming into the season you're not going to have Edey for a period of time. Okay, you're not going to have Brandon Clark for a period of time. Okay, well, then you lose Ty Jerome in the last game of the preseason, and it's been 2 months for that calf strain, and he's still not back. And the intermittent availability of Morant has also been an issue.
And the backup Pippen hasn't been there.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're treading water around 500 at Christmas time, given all the things that the Grizzlies have dealt with, and they have the 3rd most games lost due to injury in the NBA this year, you'd have to say that that's pretty doggone good.
Last thing, NBA and the commissioner spoke and basically said in 26 we'll have a definitive timeline about domestic expansion. And he used the 2 things, saying he wasn't teasing, but that Vegas and Seattle would be the cities that would be the beneficiaries if indeed the NBA goes from 30 to 32 teams. To me, that was telling us that there's going to be 32 teams. Do you buy that?
I think that it's very possible. I think what Adam did was basically say, we've got the math in a better place to explain to the 30 governors what a 32 team would look like. Now, if you go from 30 to 32, your share of the TV revenue goes from 1/30th to 1/32nd, right? But if you add 2 teams, you have 2 expansion fees.
Yeah.
So
which could be $6 billion, which would be what shared by 30 people, $6 billion. That's heavy money.
Well, yeah, I mean, and because you're talking, even Portland at the low end was valued at $4.5 billion. They just sold. So I think it tells us that they have a better handle on finances and also have a better handle on what's going to happen with local television rights. Because right now, you look at those 2 markets, they do not have a regional sports network in Vegas or in Seattle. So they figured some things out that they can bring it to the governors and say, okay, financially, if we do this, this is what the financial outcome is going to be. So I just think that they've put a sharper point on the pencil to the point where they can bring it to the governors and say, okay, this is a real-life example. If we do this, this is what it's going to look like. Vote yes or no on it.
And for those that are paranoid, 2 less cities that anybody could move to in the league. So there you go. That's your Christmas present. How about that? Pete Pranica, as always, we appreciate it. I guess next Thursday is Christmas, right? I'm all over the place. So, yeah. So you're off. Happy holiday, my friend.
And happy Hanukkah to you.
I appreciate that. That is our guy, the voice of the Grizzlies on TV, Pete Pranica. Safe travels home and all the rest. Pete, we thank you. That is Pete Pranica, voice of the TV Grizzlies. One last note before I slip away and head to an airplane to go to Tampa for the Gasparilla Bowl tomorrow, the Tigers and NC State. It became common knowledge, became public knowledge. Charles Huff got a new deal. It's 5 years, $10 million. So the Tigers actually are saving money on what they would have owed Ryan Silverfield, at least on the front end here. And the best part that I liked in the Charles Huff contract with the university is there is a clause in there to upgrade his salary, assistant's salary, everything, if indeed the Tigers get into a power conference. I hope they know something that I don't, but I love having that clause in there. This portion of the program brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken wishes everybody, by the way, happy holidays. He and his son, William, third generation now in the business. We're talking 75 to 80 years of building the finest homes or remodeling. I call it renovation with all the innovation, all the modern amenities Ken Garland can put in your home. You don't want to leave your lot. You're comfortable there. You've got all your beautiful landscaping in. It's really close to school, whatever it may be. You're not leaving, but you want more modern amenities. You want the California closets. You want the island in the kitchen. You want the media room with the theater seating. He can do that. And he can also provide you with land for that dream home, or if you've got land and you've had it in your family and now you're ready, you're going to pull the trigger on the dream home. He knows how to utilize that land. Go see what I'm talking about. Go to Ken Garland Custom Home Builders, then go talk to Ken. He's fun to talk to. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders, the only builder you'll ever need. That'll do it for me for today. We've still got plenty of show to come. Bill Bender and Bill Bender. And then more of you, because Jarvo's going to be on an airplane with me. Anyway, carry on. Happy holidays to everybody. We'll talk to you about all of the bowl games and the Tigers in Mississippi State Monday morning.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people tell me that they wanted to wait until spring to put their home on the market. This is Sheldon Rosengarten at Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and think about it. In March, April, when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs. More competition. We've been in an unusual market in the last year, and to get an edge on other homes on the market, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. From the preparation before you go on the market to the presentation and keeping you informed every step of the way, it's rare that we cannot provide results. That's why people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. Write it down or call me now, MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
When work needs doing or the trail calls, you need a machine that's ready for both. That's Honda's line of Pioneer side-by-sides. Choose the Compact 520, the powerful 700 series, or go big with the 1000 line, built for 3, 5, or 6. Visit DeSoto Honda, 5656 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and find your perfect Honda Pioneer side-by-side. For your safety, read the owner's manual and wear a helmet and eye protection. Always wear a seatbelt and close the side nets and doors when operating. Honda side-by-sides are for riders 16 and older.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back into Wolo and Friends. As you just heard from that first segment, Wolo had to depart because he has to be in Tampa for the Gasparilla Bowl coming up tomorrow. Should be very exciting. Darian and I, after we talk with our good friend Bill Bender from the Sporting News, will be breaking down the world of football, looking at Thursday Night Football, looking at these bowl games, and a few grievances that I have with these bowl games, but we'll get to that bridge when we get there. But for right now, we are talking with Bill Bender from the Sporting News, and a lot of stuff to talk about with bowl season. We're in the middle of it. College football playoffs is coming up soon. But Bill, before we get to that, you guys at the Sporting News released your article about your 2025 college football All-America team, and I looked through it. Loved all of the selections that you guys have. Is it possible that you could give us some highlights as to who made what positions, which teams, and why that they got there?
Well, so we did pick Diego Pavia and that over Fernando, and it wasn't easy, right? When you do these All-American teams, they are hard. Diego had a great year. Diego had a bad weekend, you know, and you have to balance those things. But he had a fantastic season for the Commodores this year, and we didn't ignore that. You know, when you do those All-American teams, I always tell people, you take a deep breath when it's over. You live with your decisions. Making decisions is not easy, right? And there's a lot of pressure to it. But I really appreciate what you said, because the work that goes into that, we take it very seriously. So thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, it's a great team, man. There's a lot of awesome college football stories on that team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just quickly looking through it, you have Diego Pavia, obviously the top 2 running backs, I believe, of the year, Jeremiah Love and Ahmad Hardy. I mean, a lot of great selections here. There was one thing, though, about the list that I was looking through, and it might be very, very strange. I don't think anybody's really ever going to ask you this question after me, but I saw the special teams that you had selected and the kicker that you had. And you had Tate Sandell with Oklahoma, who had a phenomenal year this year. I mean, went crazy. I believe he only missed 1 field goal, was perfect from beyond 50. I mean, he had a wonderful year. But in your second team, you had a guy that went perfect throughout this year, and that was Kansei Matsuzawa with Hawaii, who everybody knows his story if they tuned in to Week 0, Hawaii versus Stanford. A guy from Japan, taught himself English, was more worried about the press conference after the game than he was making that kick to win that game. So I just kind of, because, Hawaii is a little bit of my favorite team in college football. So what was the deciding factor in having Tate be the first team and Kansei be in the second team?
Yeah, it's hard to go against the guy that was perfect. It was tough. Every decision's tough.
It is.
Hawaii was gracious about it. Kansas was the consensus choice, and Tate gets to be an All-American too. And some of that, it happens that way. I mean, what sticks out to us is Tate from long range, 40 and 50 yards.
Yeah.
Automatic almost, and that's something you look at when you do these teams. But I didn't expect that question, but I do appreciate it, and obviously he had a good year as well. So we were, like I said, some tough decisions in there, but I think we were really confident in our team. And you look across the Big Five that determined consensus, and everybody had a good team. Everybody does things. There's a couple guys that are a little bit different across it, and no harm done. Everybody there was deserving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage all the listeners out there to just go to the Sporting News, take a look at this team, because like you were saying, Bill, there is a lot of work that goes into it. And not only did you guys just pick the big positions like the wide receivers and the running backs. I mean, you guys went in and you chose tackles and guards, centers. I mean, you got it all. So very, very impressive work. Definitely don't have any disagreements, of course, except for the kicker. But that's a little bit of pride on my part with all of that. But going back to that conversation about having Diego over Fernando Mendoza, of course, we know Fernando Mendoza becomes the first Indiana player to win the Heisman. What did you make of Fernando getting that great honor?
Oh, I mean, I here's the thing, and I've had to do this speech a couple times this week, so bear with me. Fernando was first on my Heisman ballot, but I'm also part of a team at Sporting News. So it really weighed on me that, at my ballot, and I'll be upfront about it, was Fernando, Diego, and then Jacob Rodriguez, who I thought should have been a finalist.
Right.
Based on the season that he had. So, it was obviously a tough decision. Fernando, though, let's talk about him. Great job at Indiana. Great season. Collection of Heisman moments. Just an unbelievable guy, too. Somebody that you can look up to.
Yeah.
Led the Hoosiers. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think they'd beat Penn State. I didn't think they'd beat Oregon. I didn't think they'd beat Iowa. I certainly didn't think they'd beat Ohio State. And they just stacked up this collection of victories, and it was amazing to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the turnaround that Indiana had, I mean, you look at them last year, and by no means were they a bad team, but it almost felt like something was different in the air for Indiana, because the run that they're going on, Kurt Cignetti, it's kind of like he's kind of got this attitude about him where it's like Nick Saban 2.0, where he's pissed off when they're up big, and he's not a happy camper when the team is clearly doing well on the field. So they definitely have a lot of good things going on over there, and big shout out to Fernando. But Bill, before we get into the college football playoffs, which we know is starting up tomorrow with a big game with Alabama and Oklahoma, we are in bowl season right now with all of these outside bowls outside of the college football playoffs, and with everything that's going on in college football, with the world changing, the opt-outs, the transfer portal, NIL, all of these kind of things. What have you made of these outside bowl games?
Still football. I mean, it varies. You watch a team like Delaware, playing their first bowl game. You'll watch Missouri State playing their first bowl game tonight, and that's always special. Then you have other ones where guys opt out. Obviously it impacts the result, but at the end of the day, it's still football to me.
And you still enjoy those games. You still enjoy everything about them. And I think, I'm going to watch these games as much as I can. Got a little hung up last night, so I missed some of the games last night. But I'll watch, and you want to see who some of these players are. And now, does the playoff take away from it? Yeah, a little bit, because you start to hyper-focus on those 11 games in the college football playoff, probably 15 in a few years. But I'm still going to enjoy the games tomorrow night. I think there'll be some complaining Saturday night if JMU gets blown out.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, well, this is the system we have, and they earn their right in. And I think for James Madison, it's not going to deter from making the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes. And there's a reason they play them. It's like the NCAA tournament. We don't predetermine outcomes. They have to play the game.
Yeah. They absolutely do. And so going along that same wavelength, and Bill, this question may not have an answer to it right now, but I feel like it is something to at least mention and talk about right now. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think one thing that's become evident over the past couple of years that it's been happening is that these big-time bowls don't seem to have as much weight as they once did. You don't see that Ohio State, while yes, they were the national champions last year, you don't really hear them going around bragging that they won the Rose and Cotton Bowl before that. And on the other side of that, you don't hear Texas saying, well, we won the Peach Bowl, or Notre Dame saying we won the Sugar and Orange Bowl. We just know them as the teams that did not win the national championship last year. So is there anything that can be done to make these bowls impactful once again?
Maybe limit the. I hesitate to say limit the number. Here's why. I grew up, as you guys know, we do this hit every week. I went to a MAC school. When I was in college, it was a very big deal that the MAC got a second bowl bid.
Yeah.
It was like my first couple of years, there was only one, and then they got a second, and now they have 5 or 6, and to me, it's an opportunity for those to play football one more time.
Yeah.
Are there too many bowl games? Maybe, but then I think about what that bowl game means to the Sun Bowl means to El Paso, the Birmingham Bowl, or the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah.
The traditions for the community. You guys have one there.
Yeah,
and
we do.
It's a great tradition. So I don't know. I mean, you would have to tell me what the attendance at the Liberty Bowl's been like versus maybe 10 years ago, but I would assume it's still an important event.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but it just seems like, because it used to be, I mean, you look back a few years when Memphis finally made a New Year's Six Bowl when we went and played Penn State at the Cotton Bowl, and that was the biggest thing that ever hit us. But now it just seems like these bowls are getting lost in the midst of the playoffs, and I'm not sure if there's anything different we can do about it, because I mean, one solution would probably be to remove those bowl games and kind of do what they did earlier on when we just had 4 teams and just had some of those bowl games in there. But I don't know. That's just part of the ever-changing world of college football as we know it right now. But with these college football playoffs, we know we have a big game tomorrow. Right now, there's a lot of storylines surrounding Alabama and Oklahoma, as Kalen DeBoer is looking to avoid his 3rd loss in a row to Oklahoma. Should not have lost to him last year, ended up doing that, lost to him this year, and Oklahoma made big strides in the offseason to have a better team. What do you make of this game, and who do you see moving on from it?
Am I crazy for picking Alabama?
No, because I actually picked Alabama too.
Now, and they weren't favored, but a couple things here. They're going to have to avoid the turnovers. They're going to have to run the football better than they did in these last 2 meetings against Oklahoma. Or we're watching the same Christmas movie that we watch over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one is your favorite. With a couple in the Bender house, but yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, and I think it's going to be a defensive game. But, despite the noise around Kalen DeBoer and the Michigan job, I think Alabama comes out focused, Ty Simpson plays well, and they find a way to win in Oklahoma, which would set up a fantastic Rose Bowl between Indiana and Alabama. Man, that would be fun to watch on New Year's Day.
Oh, it absolutely would. And so with that, let's look around the surrounding stories with it, because as we know, with the information that came out with Michigan's former head coach being released, that job opening wide open, and a lot of people saying that Kalen DeBoer is kind of the front runner to it. Should a Alabama loss occur, what do you think about that Michigan job? Does that egg on Kalen to take it, or do we look in a different direction?
they're going to make the call.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. It seems like, all the smoke, Kalen's definitely the lead candidate in this. Do they land him? I don't know. If I had to guess, and this is pure speculation, nothing behind it, I would say that I think Lane left.
Yeah.
Kalen
go back to the Lane controversy.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go back to that one. But, Kalen, I think he's going to stay. I think and maybe they have to go after like a Kenny Dillingham, which has been reported.
Yeah.
And if they can't get them, what point do you pick up the phone and call Brian Kelly? I think that's the other interesting thing that they can take into account here.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting, but it's also crazy the timing of all this, because even just mentioning Lane, you take us back to the craziness of the coaching carousel with all those job openings, and it seemed everything got settled, the storm had settled, and then all of a sudden this blew up, and now you've got a lot of questions that if Kalen does leave, then who fills the Alabama role and all of these other kind of things. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what goes on there. Looking forward and looking at more of these college football playoff games, we have Miami and Texas A&M. Marcel Reed looks healthy. I feel like Carson Beck kind of been flying under the radar a little bit this year. Still a good quarterback. Still looks like he's good to go. Where do you see this game going?
Which quarterback avoids mistakes?
Yeah,
and
huge.
Marcel didn't get sacked much, but he had 10 interceptions. Carson Beck last 4 games didn't have the turnovers. They cost them the SMU game. I think this will be the best game of the weekend. That's not really a bold prediction. It's a close line.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested to see if Miami can carry that ACC banner down to Texas and get the conference a victory. So I have Texas A&M winning the game, but I have Miami covering that short spread. I do think it could be a simple game of sorts. And like I said, between those quarterbacks, who avoids that critical mistake that could turn a game, because it literally could just be one.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right, I think. And that's something that we've seen kind of with Carson Beck over the past, over the past few years, is Carson Beck tends to start out really well, but then midway through the season has a little bit of a turnover bug with him. And like you mentioned in the SMU game, definitely cost them huge there. But like you said, I think this is going to be a really tight game. And then, of course, you have those, I don't want to call them outliers, but it almost seems like it will be that way, because we saw last year with the lower seeds, they just got completely obliterated in the first round. I believe you guys at the Sporting News released an article breaking down all that information on just how lopsided all of those games were. So we potentially have 2 of those. I don't think we have them with Ole Miss and Tulane, but does JMU have a chance to at least make it close against Oregon this year?
I hope so, because I don't want to read tweets all night about how the game was terrible.
Yeah.
And I think that's the risk factor here. You mentioned those first-round blowouts last year. I was at one of them. Tennessee, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Here was my... Okay, so last year, the margin of victory in the first round was 19.3 points per game.
Wow.
But I would contend that other than SMU was a dud, Indiana Notre Dame was entertaining.
Yeah.
I thought Clemson Texas was entertaining to a point. That was a high-scoring game. Ohio State and Tennessee was a blowout, but it was entertaining from the standpoint that Ohio State bounced back from the Michigan loss and all that.
Yeah.
So it can still be a blowout and be entertaining. Now, if Oregon goes out and beats JMU 52-7, and that's, by the way, that's up against Packers-Bears, I mean, we are going to hear some criticism from that side. And then, obviously, Tulane, Ole Miss, same deal. They just played.
Yeah.
Ole Miss won the first meeting 45-10. I don't think we want to watch that again.
No, we certainly don't. So hopefully we get some competitive games, because ultimately that's what we want. But Bill, I know the question is there about the going into the future, and I believe we were talking on Sports Time with Coach Tommy West about how there's always going to be somebody who's upset. Like this year, well, I mean, we expanded to 12 teams, and now teams 13, 14, and 15 are all saying that we should have gotten in. So the answer obviously is that we're going to be moving in the direction of probably expanding to the 16-team playoff format. When do you see that occurring?
Sooner rather than later. And I hope we do. And you know, Dave and I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, just the importance of the inclusion of the group of 5 in this format. And I agree with that. Now, would I prefer teams? Yes. But this requires that the committee respects the group of 5 too.
Right.
I think the American Conference had a compelling race all season. And if it wasn't Tulane, it could have been Memphis. It could have been South Florida. It could have been Navy. And they have to show up in these games and play well. Otherwise, that sentiment will continue to grow that they should be left out. That's why I think Tulane, even if they lose and the score's like 31-17, I'll look at it like, hey, they showed up and played like Boise did last year. Mm-hmm. And that will be under the microscope. I would go 16 teams. I would get rid of the conference title games. I'd play the first 2 rounds on campus, and I'd start it a little bit earlier. So I'm telling you, I'm a huge NFL fan too. I wouldn't go head-to-head with it too long.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. But, Bill, before we let you go, you mentioned something about how the holidays are just right around the corner. We've got Christmas next week. We've got New Year's after that, so we won't be talking to you until 2026. But you mentioned that the Bender household had a few Christmas movie favorites. What are they?
Is Home Alone Christmas or Thanksgiving? I think it's my kids love Home Alone 2.
Oh, of course, classic.
Chevy Chase, Christmas Vacation, and I am a Die Hard guy. I don't know if we can get into the tenets of whether Die Hard.
I don't know if we have time for that.
No, it takes too long. But I always enjoy watching John McClane do his thing. He's the working man's hero.
Well, yeah. Well, there you have it. Those are Christmas classics. And if you ask the Schmidt household as well, we would also say Die Hard does teeter on the line of being more of a Christmas movie than not. You do have the cop that sings a little bit of a Christmas jingle, and it is snowing and all that stuff. So, but we can get into that another time. Bill, have a very Merry Christmas. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and we will see you in 2026.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me, Landon. Talk to you soon.
All right. That is our friend Bill Bender from the Sporting News, breaking down everything that there is in the crazy college football world. On the other side, Darren and I, we got to bring to you, even in the midst of all of the crazy college football stuff that's going on, yes, there still is Thursday Night Football tonight, and we will talk about it. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Wolo and Friends.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Hey everybody, nothing says holiday fun like driving home in an all-new All-Star Chevy. And how about a new Traverse or a Tahoe? Don't miss the Red Tag event here in Olive Branch with big customer cash or financing as low as $0 with your new 26 Silverado or Equinox, because your good credit deserves it. Ask them about the extra $2,000 you can get on a new Colorado if you're driving one of the other midsize trucks. First responders and military get an extra $500 bonus. Look, this Christmas and into the new year, together let's drive what we really want to drive. And come check out All-Star Chevy's huge selection of barely driven certified and the hottest pre-owned vehicles you'll find anywhere. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. And Drew and everyone here at All-Star Chevy wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, safe holiday travel, and a Happy New Year. Remember, it's All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
The next time you're driving into work and you're feeling hungry, take a second before you pull into that fast food drive-thru. Imagine what you're really looking at. Some generic, bland, probably just thawed breakfast you're going to try to juggle while you drive. You could do that, or you could simply aim your car at Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar and actually enjoy your breakfast. Sunrise prides itself on fast, fresh, cooked-to-order food. There's no lukewarm bin of biscuits at Sunrise. It's just a matter of starting your day in a bad mood or starting your day happy and full of Sunrise.
This holiday season is short. Make every moment magical with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you'll take all your festive looks to the next level and find gifts to wow every one of your family and friends. Discover our unmatched quality, brilliant natural diamonds, and spectacular service when you shop in store or online at sissyslogcabin.com. Make this the most wonderful time of the year with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Goo, Radio Gaga. All we hear is...
Welcome back into Wolo and Friends. Wolo, as you heard from that first segment, had to depart. He is on his way to Tampa for the Gasparilla Bowl, where the Tigers will be taking on NC State. That should be a pretty good matchup, but even in the midst of all of the craziness of college football, the bowl games, college football playoffs are right around the corner. Yes, there is indeed Thursday night football, and tonight is going to be a huge game. The Seahawks and the Rams meet once again. Both teams coming into this game standing at 11-3 with great implications for the NFC West
Great
division.
implications, sir.
And
say that.
Yeah, great implications because the winner of this will claim that first seed, will be in the driver's seat, and likely, I mean, it's safe to say that both of these teams are going to make the playoffs. But I think right now, between these teams, you're looking at potentially who's going to be taking home that first round bye from the NFC, who's going to be taking around that top seed to get themselves into the playoffs. Going to be a great game. The last time that these two teams met, it was the Sam Darnold not so great show. He threw 4 interceptions against this team, and he needs to play a lot better for this team to at least have a great chance. And I do believe I've been seeing the video updates all week that they're wearing their rival jerseys for this game.
I believe so, but can I lead Corso you, my friend? First of all, astute observations for both teams, but you're missing the mark, sir. Can I argue with you?
Argue away if you'd like.
All right, he said if you'd like. Let's just say Seattle pulls out this win, and the Green Bay Packers beat the Chicago Bears. Do you know the San Francisco 49ers play on Monday? I'll help you out.
The 49ers are still in the hunt. I know that.
44-year-old Phillip Rivers. If all of those 3 scenarios, those are not wild scenarios. If those 3 things happens, guess who you wake up on Tuesday morning the number 1 seed is?
Your 49ers.
My 49ers. So I hear you talking about who's in the lead, because the reason we would jump the line is people don't remember we're actually 4-1 in the division, and we've already had a victory over the Rams. So,
that's true, because any game that happens at SoFi Stadium is basically a home game for the 49ers. You look at that crowd, it's a sea of red out there. So not taking anything away from them, but
I shall enjoy this game with you tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be huge. I mean, like I said, both teams sitting at 11-3. The winner here makes significant strides for the NFC West. Both teams clearly going to make. I mean, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. The NFC West, I believe, this year is going to have the 3 teams as representatives.
I wanted you to get to that because you said you were talking about the 2. I was like, dude, I think it's going to be 3.
This is the division that's going to have the 3. I think that's set in stone because, like you were saying,
all 3 teams got 10 wins already.
So. Yeah, I mean, they're right there. They're right there in the mix of everything, and already, I mean, you said that it's not that crazy of a scenario. It's crazy enough that we're mentioning that 44-year-old Phillip Rivers is in the mix for all of these games with the Colts. That's still wild in of itself, but still. This game tonight, you got Seattle, who has a top 5 defense, and their last 3 games alone have only allowed a combined 25 points against their opponents. They've been doing really good scoring against them. And it is also this Rams defense that ranks right now in 13th in total yards allowed and caused 4 interceptions the last time that these two teams met. So I think if you look at this game, it's really going to depend a lot on how the Seattle Seahawks come out of the gate, because they have failed to have a first quarter touchdown since they played the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, on November 9th. So it has been not a super long time, but it's kind of this common theme that the Seahawks come out of the gate a little bit slow, and I don't think you have really any room or margin for error to do that against a really good Rams team. Both of these teams look really good, and I know that there's reports out there that are saying that Devontae Adams is doubtful for tonight's game, which is always
that hamstring.
Yeah, the re-aggravated that hamstring injury. That's always going to be a big blow to them, but still, you got to remember that guy Puka Nacua is still going to be out there. He looks healthy. He looks good. He looks good to go. So really, it's kind of going to be the Puka versus arguably the best wide receiver in
Randy
the league.
Moss. I mean Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was waiting for you to get to.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He is so Randy Moss-ish right now.
He's going absolutely crazy. I mean,
place your bets on he and Puka overs, y'all.
Yes, 100%. And I'm not a gambling man by any means, but Darian, he knows John Harden. He's been with the whole program. He knows how to bet. And if you're hearing that from him, I'd take his advice in this situation. So definitely lean that way. But right now, I mean, I was at the Titans and Seahawks game, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, had 3 catches. But it was the most Randy Moss stat of all time when he went 3 for 3, 158 yards and 3 TDs. I mean, what are we doing here? Jackson Smith and Jigba in that game had 2 touchdowns over like 150-something yards receiving. So it's not that he's going to get all the targets in the world, but when he's
efficient is all get out,
but
dude.
when he does make that catch, you better believe he's going to find the end zone.
I told Alan say first team. Like, you can just book him first team, y'all.
No, first team all the way. And it's kind of the same thing with this quarterback matchup. I mean, Sam Darnold, I got to issue a public apology to him all throughout the offseason. I was saying, this is not your guy. He's a systematic quarterback. He was loving Kevin O'Connell over at the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he fit right in there. I mean, everything was going well. And
Don't do it. Don't apologize yet. He can prove you right tonight. Don't apologize yet. Wait till tomorrow.
Well, so here's the thing. He's had his ups and downs, and yes, he's been bailed out by the Seahawks defense on several occasions throughout the year. But he's still playing good. He's still the leader of this team that is 11-3 right now in the league. And that's not something that you can just shrug off and say, oh, Sam Darnold's not playing very well. He still is doing a good job with this team. He's had a few games where it's not looked very well. Hence, the Rams' last game where he threw 4 interceptions. He cannot have that performance tonight. And even on the other side, you look at Matt Stafford. Now, Matt Stafford is playing timeless football right now, but he's not going to probably impress you through the yards that he's going to get through the air, but he will impress you with how many times he's going to get that rock into the end zone. He's going to get those touchdown passes. He's going to get the ball where it needs to go because this guy is incredible. So I think we're in for a really great matchup tonight. I think this game is going to be kind of a low scoring affair to start out. Maybe the fireworks get going, but it really depends on how the Seahawks come out of the gate, and it really depends on how good this defense is at shutting down and getting in Sam Darnold's face. And if we see all that, I mean, there's really no telling where this direction is going to go. But
two quick things for your quarterbacks to back you up. With the Stafford deal, Stafford wins before the snap. That's the old Tom Brady. That's the old Drew Brees, Peyton Manning.
He knows what you're doing before you know.
He wins before and McVay believes in that. And as far as your Darnold deal, to kind of, I guess, uplift your statement of he may not win the game for you, but he also not going to lose it. He's the only quarterback with 200 yards in every game, but no 300 yards. Game, so it's kind of he'll be good enough. He'll be good enough to win or lose. Huh?
Yeah, he's been playing good. He's been playing good football. I would not label it as great football, but he's been doing a good job out there on the field. Just real quick because we're about out of time. I mean that's pretty commonplace.
You can hear the handicap. My handicap friend coming down the hall, right?
Yeah, I can hear him.
You can hear him.
You can hear the clink.
The clink. Yeah, that's what we meant.
Clink.
People.
Yeah,
we tease them because we love them.
We do. It's all out of a place of love. But right now, I mean, bowl season is heating up right now. I mean, last night, and I believe Brian actually pointed this out on Sports Time yesterday of how the underdogs in these games are the direction to go. Because I believe now, before that, they're now 9-1. Is that right? Because of Old Dominion's win over USF last night. I mean, this is incredible stuff that's happening right now. But to kind of quickly, before we completely run out of time, to circulate all of these things, there is only one grievance, Darian, I have with these bowl games.
I heard you had a grievance. What is it?
You know what that grievance is?
What's your grievance, sir?
Opt-outs. Anyone who opt-outs from these games, people who sit out, people who are on the sidelines, don't want to play anymore. I mean, you saw with the Old Dominion USF game. The importance of having your starting quarterback in there is just monumental. Like Byron Brown would have changed the trajectory of that game, no doubt. And this is why I want to pay a quick tribute to Haynes King, I've already been impressed with him in his regular season, what he's been saying, what he did with his Georgia Tech team, and how they're about to play BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. He said this: I want to play for my teammates. We've put time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this season, and it's not over yet. I'm not one to jump ship and quit. I want to ride it out and finish it with my brothers. That's the attitude you got to take into bowl season. That's the attitude of a leading quarterback.
That's the attitude I bring with you because I'll never opt out on you, brother.
You better believe it because the second you do, I'm going to call in J-Ham and then we'll talk about stuff. So there are replacements out there for you. I'm just kidding. Never in a million years. You are the Knuckles to my Sonic. That is going to do it for us here today. You've been listening to Wolo Friends. Huge thank you to Bill Bender for joining us. Thank you to Pete Pranica, who was here with Dave. Safe travels for Dave. Happy Hanukkah for all of our Jewish friends. Merry Christmas to everybody out there who is celebrating. We will not be with you, but we will be together tomorrow. Darian and I will come at you. We'll be talking a lot more sports. Johnny Radio is on the other side, and as always, my friends, it's going to be a good day.
Hi, fellas. It's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and you cannot wait much longer. It's time for action, and you've got to make some decisions.